Text selection is an important first step in providing quality classroom instruction. Through careful selection, we can instill a lifelong love of reading while meeting the goals of 21st century standards. Please join me, Bethany Robinson, as I walk you through Read Side by Side's text selection process.
When selecting titles for the CIA curriculum, we look at text complexity, genre, topic, middle school and high school connections, as well as engagement and motivation. Today, we would like to walk you through this very intentional selection process. Complex text has become the defining factor in the Common Core for English language arts. All of the standards for reading are meant to be practiced within books that are appropriately complex for the grade level. And so, when we selected our books for the CIA curriculum, we used the Common Core's three-part definition of text complexity as our guide. We begin by looking at the quantitative demands of the text. A computer typically generates this. Looking at sentence length and word length, the computer will give a lexile or a grade-level equivalency. Common Core gives suggested grade bands based on lexiles. However, we do not stop here. Next, we look at qualitative demands of the text. A careful reader determines this by looking at genre, topic, themes, language, and structure. Our goal is always to introduce new experiences that will stretch a student's background knowledge, literary knowledge, and language. Finally, we look at reader and task demands. We can raise or lower complexity by thinking about whether a book connects to a student's background knowledge and/or adjust the demands of the assignment paired with the text. Additionally, we think of length as a task demand. Putting students in a shorter or longer selection will impact the complexity. Anticipating background knowledge, tasks assigned, as well as stamina needed, we can better select appropriate titles for each grade level. When selecting titles for read aloud and book clubs, we always look for chapter books, novels, and longer nonfiction titles. This sets us apart from all other programs which use short texts and excerpts exclusively. We recognize that the Common Core wants us to increase a student's stamina for reading across grades. This goal is apparent in the 2nd and 3rd grade band, where Common Core read aloud exemplars move from picture books to longer chapter books. Common Core recognizes that if we expect students to begin to read chapter books in their independent reading, we must model and guide through these complex texts first in read aloud. While other programs model in picture books and then expect students to be able to read chapter books successfully in independent reading, the CIA curriculum sees the value of modeling in longer texts. The standards focus on whole texts rather than excerpts of novels, and you can be assured that the CIA units, too, offer whole text reading. Students in CIA classrooms will always read texts in their entirety, a feature that makes our program unique. The CIA units also systematically pursue the goal of developing language knowledge and domain knowledge. Therefore, we seek to expose students to a variety of genres across our 3rd through 6th grade units. CIA units systematically introduce these genres across the grades: realistic fiction, subgenres of realistic fiction including adventure and mystery, historical fiction, biography, narrative and informational nonfiction, legend, fantasy, and science fiction. In this 5th grade example, you will see how students are exposed to a variety of genres even across one school year, with more complex genres introduced later in the year. Additionally, each grade-level sequence in the CIA curriculum has a social studies focus. Topics include family conflict and the civil rights era at 3rd grade, personal journey and the pioneering spirit at 4th, Revolutionary War and the Industrial Revolution at 5th grade, and the American Dream and the Great Depression in 6th. By focusing on one or two main topic areas over time, we can extend the student's knowledge base. In third grade, for example, students pursue the idea of conflict first in the family unit, then in the world, and finally in their personal community. This will also create multiple exposures to words in different contexts, as vocabulary related to the topic is recycled and expanded upon across the year. Allowing for depth around a subject area increases motivation for reading and broadens text interests, offering a natural balance of fiction and nonfiction in the classroom. The questions students ask when reading fictional texts naturally lead students to look up facts in nonfiction sources, while experiences with nonfiction titles will build knowledge base and interest in a time period or circumstance that may lead students back to fiction. Here is an example. When 5th grade students read the literary text Earthquake Terror by Peg Carrot, they immediately start asking questions. When the redwood tree falls on the camper, they want to know if a massive redwood tree could really fall over in an earthquake. And so they start reading about earthquakes in California and investigating these facts. The articles and other resources to pursue these questions are woven into our CIA units. Meanwhile, students may start showing interest in other natural disasters, which will lead them to other nonfiction and fiction titles during book club and independent reading. While other curriculums add nonfiction almost haphazardly, CIA intentionally brings in nonfiction to broaden and further develop understanding while exploring multiple resources on the same topic. This not only meets the true goal of the Common Core, but also naturally creates a reading interest that transcends the classroom. Let's look at how all these titles and outside sources are woven together within CIA Read Aloud and Book Club unit pairings. In this 3rd grade example, you will see that we have the anchor text, Martin Luther King Jr., which is the Read Aloud unit. We have text that gives students context for that anchor text, and those are intentionally woven into that unit. In this example, 3rd grade students look at a timeline, a map, a family tree, read informational articles, read primary documents, and they also watch a video. These multimedia connections broaden their knowledge base to deepen their understanding of the anchor text. And finally, we add texture through book clubs. In this example, the accompanying CIA Book Club unit that pairs with Martin Luther King Jr. is focused on Rosa Parks. The book clubs will offer a below grade level, an on grade level, and above grade level text to allow for differentiation. We have intentionally matched the Read Aloud and Book Club text so that the Read Aloud builds the background knowledge needed for book club, allowing you to push kids to the very top of their instructional range and bring about increased progress. Giving students experience in longer novels through Read Aloud and teaching them to comprehend novels on their own through book club will prepare students for the demands of middle school and high school reading. However, there is another scaffold that may not be as obvious that we would like to point out to you. We have also intentionally selected texts for elementary that match up to middle school or high school titles in order to build background knowledge. Holes, read in 5th grade CIA classrooms, explores similar themes to Lord of the Flies, often read at 8th and 9th. Children of the Dust Bowl, read in 6th grade classrooms, builds background knowledge for Grapes of Wrath at 10th or 11th grade. In this way, the CIA units seek to sequentially build knowledge and reading interest across grades in ways that other programs do not. While reading these intentional selections at school, students will begin to naturally explore their reading choices at home. This picture shows 3 students from Sunnyside, Washington, reading while walking to school. The literacy coach captured this on her phone when she was parking her car. We see this in CIA schools across the country, where students are getting so excited about the topics and genres introduced in CIA that they naturally choose to continue to explore topics, genres, and authors on their own confidently. If students become motivated by what they are reading at school, they will begin to choose reading at home. And this is our ultimate goal, to turn students on to reading so that they will become lifelong readers. So in our schools, let's give them great books.